Guys, today we are also going to discuss one of the important concepts that is OData in ASP.NET Core Web API microservices. You can consider it is an alternative approach of a GraphQL. So basically, whatever we discussed right regarding GraphQL, that is little bit difficult to implement, difficult to understand, right? Why? Because that is not fully what I can say. Uh, that is not a fully HTTP based approach, right? So in that case, whatever the query you want, right, that what you need to specify within the request body itself, which is sometimes difficult for the front end developer, right, who are working. They might not be used the GraphQL in a very frequently manner. So to overcome that problem, what we are going to discuss, right? We are going to discuss OData. It is very similar to what GraphQL is doing, but in a very flexible manner, very easy to implement, easy to understand, and that is also going to be very easy for the, right, what I can say, front-end application. So basically, it is exactly the same way. Same way means the client will decide what data they want, right? The client can specify, right? Not only they can decide, right? What data they want, but also additionally, they can specify the filtering options. They can specify the sorting options. I mean, they want the result, but they want the result in price ascending order, name descending order, right? That's what they can specify. They can also specify not only what are the fields they want, right, in the response, they can also specify some kind of filtering options like if the product is active then you can only return the product. If the category equals to something, right, electronics, then please return only the electronics products. They can also specify the pagination options, means what, now how many records to return, how many records to skip, right? So they can also specify what navigational properties data you want to include in the response. For example, product object is there, but each product can have a list of image URLs, right? Product image URL. So do I need those product image, right, as part of the response? That what also the client can specify. So basically, what is OData? OData means Open Data Protocol. So OData stands for Open Data Protocol. So it is an open standard. Open standard means that can be used to build HTTP-based RESTful APIs where the client can ask the data in exact way they needs. Normally, it is used to support filtering, sorting, paging. Also, the client can select the specified fields which they want in the output. So, what is the benefit and why we are going to use latest type of job? See, first of all, you understand what is OData, and it is a protocol used to build HTTP-based APIs where the client can ask for the data exact way it needs. So basically, for example, if you look at this example, so this is my right. Some data is going to be there in the database. So in this case, I can request the server, hey, Mr. Server, can you please return me the list of products? But applying this filter. So filter, what are the filter means you can consider this is the where clause condition. So filter, what is the filter? The category equals to electronics. So please return me the product who belongs to the electronics category. Also, please sort this product by price in descending order. So whoever the product satisfy these conditions, please return me those product, but also sort the product in descending order by price. So this is what you will get in the response. So basically, in this case, we will discuss all these things while the client creating this query. You can see this is nothing but your URL. So in the URL itself, using query string parameter, the client can specify the filtering, the sorting, the ordering, the selecting, the expanding, right? Everything. Clear? What are the how to apply filtering, how to apply ordering, what are the queries to be right parameter they have provided? We will discuss them in detail. But for now, what is OData? It is open standard protocol used to build HTTP based RESTful services, right? Where it will allows the client to specify what data they want. What data they want means what are the right filter they want to apply, sorting they want to apply, pagination they want to apply, right? Everything, right? The kind of client can specify, and accordingly the server is going to respond to the data. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, why do you need this one? Obviously, whatever the right limitations we have discussed at the time of GraphQL for RESTful, the same kind of limitations is also there, right? For example, now, if you want some different requirements, some client wants some less data, some client wants some more data, some client wants the data in some X column in ascending order. Some other client they wants the data in Y column in a descending order. Some client want all the response in a single request. Some client wants the data in a pagination format, right? So some client wants some different kind of a filter. Some client wants some another set of a filter to be applied. Then in such kind of scenarios, we generally, right, mainly going to create a different kind of a endpoints. So if we are creating different endpoint based on the client requirement, this is nothing but endpoint explosion. So creating a different API for a different requirement. So that's what we can avoid, right, using OData. Secondly, it can also overcome that overfetching and underfetching requirement, right? Overfetching means I'm not going to return everything. Underfetching means I'm not going to return very few things. So only the data what is going to be specified by the client, that's what I'm going to return to the client. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Secondly, so now my filtering logic is not going to be split across a multiple right controller or action methods. So this is going to be handled by the OData. I'm not going to write any filtering, sorting, paging, right logic anywhere in my application code. That is the responsibility of the OData. So that what you will understand and how to implement this thing. When should we use OData? So basically, in real-time application, right? If you are developing some admin panels, if you are developing some dashboard, you are developing some reporting pages, right? Where you want to apply dynamic filtering, sorting, pagination, field selections, right? Or if your client application like mobile application, web application, BI tools, right? They need different data, right, as per their requirement for the same screen. Then in such situations, right, you need to go with a OData. Then when to avoid, if your API is very simple and responses are always fixed, if you are working with very right command heavy operations, command heavy operation means post put delete operations, then it is not recommended to go with the read what I can say OData. OData, guys, remember specifically designed for get operations. If you are doing some kind of a post operation, put operation, delete operation, not recommended. Why? Because that is going to be common for every. If you are performing one post operation or a delete operation, means what? Means whatever the requested data, that is mandatory. The client cannot compromise with the data. But when it is the get operation, which is also considered as a no affect operation, no affect means uh, it is not going to impact any changes in the database, then such kind of operations you can go with the OData. So what are the core building blocks, right? So before understanding, right, before implementing what I can say OData, first of all, we need to understand what are the key components. So component means, guys, remember we are going to have one entity type. Entity type means what you can consider this is a DTO or a class having the primary key, which should be uniquely identify a record in the database. Entity set means what? Whatever the entity type we specified, that collection property is going to be entity set. Means what? If it is a record, then it is a table. If it is a simple type, means it is a collection type. Entity set. Complex type means what? These are going to be the value object. Sir, what do you mean by value object? Value object means it is an object, or you can say one data type. So does anyone having any idea related to one data type?
No.
Not. So anyone having any idea related to value object? Right. Suppose I'm having one customer entity, I'm having one order entity, right? And both, right, while I'm placing the order, right, while I'm creating an order inside this table, I want to store the customer address. While I'm creating the order, I also want to store the shipping address inside this table. So in that case, what I can do is I can create one entity, right, called customer, which is going to have its own primary key. I can also create an entity related to order, which is also going to have its primary key. But in the customer table, I want to store the address information. I'm not going to create a separate address table itself because this address can be used at multiple places. It can be the customer address, it can be the order shipping address, it can be the order billing address, so different places I'm going to. So I'm not going to create a separate address entity. So what I'm going to do, I can create this address as a value object. Means what? This is exist without primary key, and it is going to be used as part of the other entity. So in this case, customer one entity, if I'm creating this address as a one right entity, and if I'm referring that one entity from the customer entity, then this is going to be whatever properties having within this address entities, those are going to be created as part of the customer. Same in the case of a order. So whatever properties are available here, they are going to be created as part of the order entity itself. So this is nothing but your one entity you can call. Technically, you can call them as one entity. Conceptually, you can call them as a value object. Clear?
Yes.
So you were saying when we want to create a customer address, address as is one entity or customer and address as is two different entity.
So here, customer is my main entity. Customer is one entity. Address is also one. So don't go with the customer address. So I'm saying here for understanding, this is going to be customer address. If you want to, so here the entity is address, not the what I can say this one. So customer one entity, address one entity, order another entity. Customer entity having its own identity, primary key. Order having its own identity, primary key. But this address it doesn't have its own identity. I create this, right? So technically, this is going to be created using this one attribute, right, in entity framework code. Then it is going to be one entity means what? Now, see, by default, if you are creating an entity, you have to provide the primary key. In this case, primary key is not required. So that entity, right, whatever the properties are here, they are available as part of. For example, if I'm creating a customer entity, and if I'm referring to this address entity, I mean a complex type property of a address type, then what will happen? Now, whatever the properties are available within the address entity, they are going to be created as part of the customer entity.
So it is not
Clear?
separated. So they are not independent entity here. So like we no need
So
to.
again, independent entity, what they are not going to be created as a see. So you have to remember what is entity, what is database. So for each entity, I'm creating a table in the database. But in
Yeah.
my application, customer one entity, address one entity, order one entity. But in the table, in the database, that one table will be created for the customer, one table created for the order. But this address related properties, I mean columns, they are going to be created directly inside the customer entity and order entity.
Okay. But logically, it is a different entity. That's what you're
Logically,
saying.
logically, it is a different entity, right, within my .NET application. But when it
Okay.
comes to database, those properties are going to be created as column inside their parent entity. So
Oh,
exactly,
okay.
customer is, you can consider customer not only going to contain customer information, but all the address data. Order
Okay.
not only going to contain order information, but related to its shipping address and billing address, they are also going to be created as part of the order table. Clear?
Yeah. So this is object type. That's what you're saying, right? The address is object
Can
type.
consider, you can technically, this is a one entity. Conceptually, you can consider this as a value object. Value object means what? They are going to represent only value, but no identical information. From the address entity, you cannot specify what exactly is this, because they do
Okay.
not exist right independently. But yes, they are
Okay.
going to be available as part other entity. So this value object, clear?
Uh,
So
okay.
this complex type, what I'm referring here, is nothing but the value object. One entity you can say, no primary key. Pagination means whenever I'm defining the entity as part of the entity, I can also provide some kind of a complex navigation property that or collection navigation property. So for loading the related data, for example, I'm loading the product. So for that particular product, what are the associated product images? If I'm loading the order, so what are the associated order items, right? So these order items, these products, or if I'm loading the product, what is the associated payment information? So those complex type and collection types, they are considered as navigation properties. So this is what we define, but again, we need to create one EDM, entity data model. And using this entity data model, we need to specify what is our entity type, what is our entity shade, what are the complex type, what are the navigation properties. All these things we need to define within the entity model. And this is the entity model, or you can say this is the schema that is going to be used by OData to define whenever the incoming request is coming. As per the rules and regulations, what we specified within this entity model, right? Whatever the rules and regulation we specify within the entity model, is that request is valid. For example, you specified one entity type, collection products, and or you can say product entity. Within the product entity, you specified some item name, SKU, some properties. Whenever the request coming, whether such properties are defined or some additional properties defined, so that validation is going to be taken care by framework. So how the framework will know? That purpose they will use this ADM. So what is going to be there within the ADM? These four things is going to be there. So according to these four things, when the request come, the OData will define, will decide whether that request is valid or not. Secondly, so there are a different kind of operations you can perform. Select operation, expand operation, filtering, sorting, pagination, right? Then what all operations are available? I mean, say it is not like that every operation is possible. So you have to define, yes, I want to enable the pagination operation. I want to enable the filtering option. I want to enable the sorting operation. I want to enable the select operation. So those things you need to enable. And once you enable, then they will come into the picture and they will work. For example, I provided filtering, but I don't provided sorting. And when the request come from the client, they have a huge data $sort parameter, and they want to sort the data in some column in ascending or descending order, then it will consider that an invalid request because that is not enabled by the right OData, and the client wants to apply that logic right within the response. So that concept, right? So you have to remember this ODM is nothing but, sorry, EDM is nothing but your schema. So which is going to define what entity set type, complex type navigation properties are available, and how the client can query right consistently, and how this ATM will come into the picture to validate that query. Clear?
Yes.
Clear, guys? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So practically, I'm going to show you this thing, right? If you're not getting it. So query options. So using OData, what are the different kind of queries, right? I mean, how the client can create the queries, what are the different options are available? Let us try to understand. See, first and foremost thing that what you need to remember, this query options, whatever we are going to specify, these are nothing but your query parameter. Sir, if I'm saying query parameter, what exactly it means? It means they will come as part of the query string. Sir, what is a query string? Now, as part of the URL, after the question mark, whatever we specified using key value pair, that is nothing but your query parameter. Sir, how I can specify this query parameter and normal parameters? Yes. So query parameter means this OData query parameter means they are going to be start with the dollar symbol and multiple parameter you can combine using ampersand. So for filter, you have to use dollar filter. For ordering, you have to use dollar order by. For selecting some specific field, right? You have to use dollar select. If you are not providing dollar select, then by default it will return all the columns. But if you want to red filter some specific columns, you have to use dollar select, and whatever the columns, right? At what you need to specify using comma. Expand means for loading the related entity data. Top and skip, it is used for pagination, and again for pagination you want the total count, right? So again you can combine multiple options, right, using a single query. So for filter, right, for example, if you are taking the example of a filter, so this is one example. OData products, let assume this is my collection. So on this product collection I want to apply this filter equals to, you can see dollar filter equals to price. So I want the filter on the price column. GT means greater than 100. So whichever product which price is greater than 100, please return me such products. So apart from this GT, right, this is fine. This is the filter. Using this one, you can specify the condition. This is going to be a column which must be, or property which must be available here. Apart from GT, you can use all these things. So what are these? You can say we are having EQ equals to any not equals to GT greater than G greater than equals to LT less than LE less than equals to. These are the query parameter, I mean operator, that what you can apply on the filter. Clear?
Yes.
Clear? Similarly, order by, you can see products, order by price descending. So you want to sort the data by price descending? Yes, I want. So you have to apply this condition, right? Order by price descending. Sir, can I apply multiple column? 100%. See, here what I'm doing here, I'm applying multi-column filtering, right? So here you can see order by equals to is active descending, comma, price ascending. So this is how you can apply multiple order by. First of all, it will sort the data in this order, then it will apply the secondary sorting. Then select, if you want to filter some specific columns, right? For example, you can see I'm specifying these properties. Guys, give me 1 minute. Okay. So you can see here I'm specifying multiple columns, right? So now it is not going to return me all the columns or all the properties which are available as part of the product entity. It is only going to include these properties, ID name, price. So what is the benefit? Benefit it is going to prevent overfetching and underfetching, right? So whatever the data required by you, you can specify, and that is the benefit. So load related data. For example, I'm not only going to select the product data. I also want to expand the images, right? So how I can specify? You can see I'm using this query. So OData product. So select. This is my primary entity. I'm selecting item name price, and here, and guys remember, whenever you are applying multiple parameter, as these are corresponding parameters, so you have to use ampersand expand images. So again, for the images, whatever the data you want to filter, that what you can specify. From images, this is a collection. So for images, I want ID image URL is primary this thing. So multiple, right? API you do not need to call. So using a single query, you can, right, specify all these things. So here you can say expand the images means so all only image, and from images if you want to apply some specific see, if I'm only writing expand equals to images means what? It is going to return me all the properties. But if you only need some specific properties, again you can also specify the same thing using the same select. Now, top and scheme, this is used for right pagination. Top means how many records to return from the list. Skip means how many records to skip from the beginning. So products, right, you can say skip 10, top 10 means what? It is going to skip the first 10 record, it is going to take the right next 10 record, it is going to return. So this is specifically used for the pagination. Then the total number. So while you are using pagination, you also need to now figure out how many records are there, total how many records are there. So in that case, you can also get the total count, right? When you are using this count equals to 2. So this is also going to return me total how many records are there. And this is different than this. So here it is only going to return you 10 records. It is going to return you to total number of records that are available in the database. You can also apply multiple parameter right by combining. So you can see OData products, filter price, order by, top, skip, select, count true. So many things you can apply right as per your requirement. Clear? So this is easy, or the GraphQL what we discussed, that is easy. Guys,
This is
this
easy.
is definitely going to be easy. So both are going to do the same thing, but this is better. I mean, easier to understand, implement on now. Now, what we are going to discuss implementation part. Clear, guys, till now?
Yes, clear.
So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement OData. And guys, remember, this OData is not related to your API layer. So this is not related to API layer. This is related to our right specific layer. For example, I want to apply these conditions and all these things on the payment microservice. So in the payment microservice, whenever I'm returning the product information, sorry, not payment microservice, I'm going to use this in the product microservice. In product microservice, I'm providing some data admin panel for the product where the admin can filter the data, can sort specific data, right? You can implement pagination, can specify only specific field. They can also include, they want to load the, right, what I can say, related data. So basically in the admin panel, I want the product management inside a grid. So for that purpose, whatever the data required by the admin, they can filter out. So they can apply the condition, and according to the condition, it is going to be executed in the UI. So let us proceed and see how we can implement this OData, right? In our product microservice. So first of all, guys, remember this OData doesn't right included by default. As you remember, ASP.NET Core follows a modular approach. Modular approach means what? It is not going to include everything by default. So whatever the additional things you need, you have to include the respective package. And to support OData, what we are going to do, we need to install one package that is provided by Microsoft. That package is Microsoft.asp.NET Core.OData. And this package provide all these things, right? Routing engine. Sir, what is OData routing engine? Now it enables the API to map OData style URLs. For example, in the URL, it is going to provide something like this, right? And then, right, once the request comes, then this routing engine is going to map that request to a specific endpoint. Guys, remember, in a normal HTTP based routing is different. The way routing is working in our normal ASP.NET Core RESTful service is different than this OData routing. For this OData, we need a separate routing. And for that, routing is going to be provided by this package. So what is that routing? How to use this one in our application? We'll see. So what data routing means, now in this case, the request is going to contain this kind of filters, right? That query string filter, select, order by. These are going to be contained in the request URL. So to properly map that request to some endpoint, right, we need this OData-based routing engine, and that engine is going to be provided by this package. So basically, we need to register our OData routing engine, the application processing pipeline, or you can say that service we need to include. then only it will come into the picture and it can correctly map the request to the action method. So query parsing and validation. So definitely once the request comes, OData needs to query, right? The options such as this one, right? Whatever the filter, all this thing, right? So basically, what exactly it means now, whatever the query specified by the client, whether those queries are valid or not, how to parse them, how to ensure that query whatever the client specified is valid as per our entity data model. If everything is valid, that's fine, otherwise it can prevent the invalid request. So EDM, definitely this is the heart of our ODM, OData model. So it builds the metadata that describes, right, what are the entities, what are the relationships are available, so that the OData can validate the incoming request. So whatever the entity and whatever the relationship we specified, only those things the client can specify in the URL or in the query string. Apart from this, if anything is there, that OData going to prevent that request. So this is mandatory. And also translation of OData queries to LenQ expression. So basically what exactly it means, this is more technically, right? More technical terms means what? Now we are going to generate the base query. So for example, I want to apply filter, pagination, sorting, selection, right? Projection, anything on the product entity. That means what? So for whatever the DB context dot, right? Whatever the DB context dot products, that that TP context of the products, that what I need to create as a queryable. Queryable means what? It is going to make use of a method execution. So what is, see, particularly this terminology I'm not explaining at this point. Why? Because this is the heart, or you can say this is what technically we are going to implement in our application. So what is iQueryable? Why we are creating that as a iQueryable? When this filtration is going to be applied, when those filtrations are going to be executed, that is what we are going to learn technically. So these things, right? What is this iQueryable? How that iQueryable is converted and executed in the database? That's what we are going to discuss practical. Then only you can understand this thing. Clear? So now let us proceed. Let us proceed and implement this step by step. So guys, remember the latest version of this OData package is supported by .NET 8. So you can directly install. So go to Package Manager console. Where I need to install this one? I need to install this one in the product service.api project. So go to the product service.api project. So this package I need to install. This package is going to provide the support for OData. So once you install this package, right, what I need to do, I need to expose iQueryable at the repository level. So what is this means? See, in normal. In normal, for different requirements, what you need some different kind of endpoints. For example, you might be created one endpoint for get all products. You might create one endpoint for get all active products. You might be created one endpoint for get products by category. You might need one endpoint for get upselling products. So different. But in a real-time application, the UI keeps changing. The UI keeps changing means that condition, that query parameter, that filtration, that sorting, everything is going to be changed. Right? For example, some admin they want some search box where they want to sort the product by name SKU. They want one drop down list where they want to filter by category. They want to click on the column which is going to sort the data in ascending and descending order. They want also custom ready pagination properties. So if we create separate APIs for every possible combination, then what will happen? In that case, we are going to create too many endpoints. That is nothing but endpoint explosion. And we can exactly solve this problem by allowing us, by not us, by allowing the client to send the query in the URL. How? Like this. So question mark, this is the query parameter start. Parameter name is going to be filter. What is the value? Is active equals to true. Parameter name is going to be order by. What is the value? Order created on descending. Parameter name is going to be top 25. Parameter name is going to be skip 50. So this is how, right, we can use to overcome this independent endpoint, or you can say endpoint explosion. Now, so why is queryable is required? See, if okay, let me show you this thing practically. So in this case, if you go to our product service, which layer contains the repository method, guys? Out of this layer, which layer contains the repository method? Which layer contains the implementation part?
Application.
Where we define the repository method in the application layer? Is this layer is the extra right going to communicate with the database?
The
Infrastructure, right?
infrastructure layer.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Yes.
Infrastructure. In the infrastructure layer, you can see this is my product repository. So in this layer, right, you can see get by ID method we defined, get all async method we defined, source method we defined. All right. So basically, these are the right the three different or what I can say. I'm not talking about this one. So get ID async method is also there. So now you just tell me. So these are doing the same kind of operation or not? I'm returning one product. I'm returning all the product by pagination. I'm doing the search operation. Basically, what I'm doing, I'm creating three different method. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is where OData will come into the picture. Why should I create a three method? I can handle all these things using a single method. So now, second thing. So can anybody tell me if I'm applying this faster default, if I'm applying this to list, what type of execution is this? Is this right immediate execution or a default execution?
Immediate execution.
Immediate execution means what? At this point of time, it will send the I mean, it will prepare the SQL and it will execute the SQL query in the database. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
right.
So basically, what I need to do, I need one mechanism, right, where I only want to prepare the query. I only want to prepare the query, but I don't want to execute the query at this point of time. Then if that is what my requirement, then do I need to apply any default execution method to the query? Okay, let
No.
me show you. So first of all, what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to create one interface. So where is that interface? iProduct repository is the interface. Go to the right interface, and here I define this method. So what is the return type of this method? iQueryable of a iQueryable, right? Again, I'm not using this right product and all this thing. So it is simply a iQueryable. Now go to the implementation part, and within the implementation part, what I'm going to do, please observe. Right. So tell me. So in this case, what is in this case, is this query going to execute or it is only going to prepare the query?
It's going to be prepared only query.
Is
It
this
is
going to
only going to prepare the query, not to execute.
So at this point, it is only going to prepare the base query. So what is that base query? Select a star from a products. And also, as we are marking this method which as no tracking means what? Now, whatever the data I'm going to return from this query, they are not going to be tracked by the context object. Why not tracked? Because this is a read-only operation. Whatever the data I'm returning, right from the database, I'm not going to do any kind of insert, update, or delete operation. So to improve the performance, I'm marking this as a query. Clear? So this is important with the OData. Why? Because if I apply the to list here, if I apply the to list here, any problem? For example, if I apply the to list here, is there any problem? Right? For example, right? For example, I create one method here. So list of a product, query list. right? Same. What is the difference between these two methods? So here it is only going to prepare my query, but it will not execute the query. Here it will not only preparing the query, but also it is executing the query in the database. Clear? These two things are clear or not? So this is nothing but it is using what type of execution? Default execution, and this is going to be your immediate execution. Clear or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Here it is only preparing the query. It is not executing. Whenever we call that, whenever we write, this is going to return one collection. So whenever we enumerate that collection, whenever we apply the to list to a single method, at that time that query is going to be executed. Clear? And in this case, it is immediately executing the query. Sir, in my OData, can I use this method? Yes, you can use this method. Sir, can I use this method? Absolutely, you can use this method. Which one is recommended and why? See, so if I use this to list method, means what? So in this case, it will return all the data from the database to my application. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Then what is my requirement? I want to apply some filtration. I want to apply the pagination. So if you want to apply filtration and pagination, applying the filtration and pagination on the database side and return exact data is a good practice, or load all the data from the database into your application and then apply the pagination and filtration within in memory is a good practice. Which one is good practice?
Filter while fetching.
Filter on the database, right?
Yeah.
If that is what I want to do, then I cannot apply, right, that to list method here. Why? Because what filter I want to apply while you are preparing this logic, do you have any idea what filter that is going to be applied by the client at runtime?
No.
Do you have
No.
any idea? I have no idea. What filter will be applied? I have no idea. So what I can tell is, what I can do is, I can only prepare a base query. And that base query, I can return to OData. And then OData will use this base query. On this base query, the OData is going to apply the dynamic filter, dynamic pagination, whatever. That's what they're going to apply on this query. And once they applied the filtration, then once that final SQL is generated, that SQL they are going to execute on the database. That is the reason why whenever you are working with the OData, your method should return equable. This is nothing but your base query. Clear?
Yes.
Clear or now? So while I'm loading this data, can I apply some include method? So what is? So can I apply this include method here also? What is this include method?
It include the child object,
It is
the dependent
eager,
object.
it is eagerly load the child object. That means what? Now at runtime it will make use of SQL join. Using join, it is not only going to load the product data, also it is going to load the associated product images. Clear? But do I need that include method here? Is it mandatory that the client is always going to expand, need that product images? Is it mandatory that
No
when
need.
I'm
No need.
loading the product data, I also want the product images? Mandatory, right? Yes or no? Is it mandatory?
No, no need. No need. Based
No
on
need.
the request, we can the OData may add, I think,
But it's
if I'm
going to
right.
be handled by OData. If they want, right, that product images, that will be going to handle by OData. So first, the point that what you need to remember, you have to define the OData repository method. Definitely, guys, remember, dealing with the database means it is the right, infrastructure layer. So in the infrastructure layer, you have to define the method which is going to return the base query. No additional information, no immediate execution, and 100% it is going to make use of as no tracking with the base query. Clear? This part is clear. Why we declare this method? Clear
Yes.
or not?
Yes.
Okay. So next, what I am going to do is, right, and also why we have not used that include method, is that also clear? Because whether that related entity are required by the client or not, we are not sure. If they're not required, then why I should load them from the database? That is the reason why, to improve the application performance, we are not using that include method as well while we are preparing our base query. So now, again, what I want to do is, so in my application, right, if you look at this is my application, that is fine. So in the product service, if you can see this is my product services. Here I'm using different methods. So you can see I'm returning the data using this product DTO. So this is what I'm returning to the client. So to make you understand, right, how to load, right? To make you understand how to load a related navigation property. I mean, how you can make use of include. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to include one property to this entity, right? So this is one property I am adding here, product image DTO. That image DTO we have already created here, product image DTO. So this DTO also I have added as a collection property to this product DTO. Why I'm adding this one? Because I want to demonstrate, right, as a client, how I can expect, right, how I can specify, not only load the product information, but also please return me the associated images, which are associated for each product. So for that purpose, I have added this collection navigation property to this product DTO. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so now what I need to do, guys, remember, in this case, in the application service, you can enhance this product service class. You can enhance this product service class. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to touch this one. This class I'm not going to touch. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a separate layer, right? A OData service query layer, where I'm going to define all the related things, right? So let me start with this one. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I created one folder called OData, and within this folder, I'm going to define my query interface. I'm going to define my query implementation class, and I'm also going to define my product query extension. So basically, what is that? What is this class is all about? So this class is all about means what? Now, guys, remember my repository layer will return me what? Repository layer will return me queryable of a product, right? And I want to convert that queryable of a product to queryable of a product DTO, right? So let us proceed and see how we can do this thing. So queryable of a product to queryable of a product DTO. So if you look at this one, right, we have already created in the service infrastructure layer. So this is going to be my product repository. So this is my queryable of product. So from the service class, if I call this method, then this method is going to return me queryable of a product. Then what I need to do, I need to project this queryable of a product to queryable of a product DTO. Why? Because at the end, this DTO I am going to return, and within this DTO, you can see some of the properties are computed properties, right? Some of the properties are computed properties. So all the logic I need to define. So let us proceed and do this thing. So within the OData, what I'm going to do, I'm going to define one extension method, product query extension. And this method, right, is going to provide the logic, right, for converting the data, right, from queryable of a product to I-queryable of a product DTO. So let me go ahead and implement this thing. This is very simple things, right? So for example, if you look at the product model, right? Where we define the model in the domain layer, right? Product entity. So here you can see this discounted price. This is a computed properties. This is another computed properties. This is another computed properties, right? So this logic also I have to define. Guys, give me 1 minute. Okay. So what I am going to do, I'm going to create this one, right? So let us try to observe. So project to product DTO for OData. So this method, you can see what is the input. Input is I queryable of a product. Means what? Now whatever the query is written by this method, that is going to be the input to this method. And again, you can see this is a extension method. So how you can say this is an extension method? Hmm. So you can see it is a static class. This is a static method. The first parameter is I queryable of a product. Means what? Now whatever the right this method is written. So for this return method, right, I can call this method project to retrieve. Right. So what exactly this method is going to do? See, the two things that what you need to remember when you're working with a right OData, I'm not going to return all the columns to the client. So I'm not going to return all the columns to the client. Secondly, I'm not going to use include method. So what I need to do, I need to use the select method. That is the best approach. Why? Because using select, you can specify how the related entities are going to be loaded. Using select, you can also project the response to a different entity. So here you can see, this is my select query. So here within the product entity, this is going to be my product entity. All the product related data I'm going to store in the product entity. So this is my primary image. So this product entity, if you go to the product entity, so this product entity having right primary images. Where is the primary images? Product images, reviews, discounts. So this is a property, right? In this case, right? If you look at this product entity, not here, right? Actually, this is fine. In my DTO, so in the product DTO, I'm having this primary image, alternative text, right? All this thing. So go to the definition, product images. You can go to the definition. So you can see this is my product images. So that's what I'm storing here. And here you can see I'm applying the condition. So what conditions I'm applying? Now where each primary equals to true, where the created on order by descending, I'm selecting the image URL and alternative. So that primary image I'm loading. So this is very similar, right? If you look at this product DTO, so here also I think we have not applied here, right? Primary images. So here we not applied means in the repository layer, I think we have applied, right? So here you can see I'm writing this one, product images is primary equals to true. So whichever image is primary image, that's what we are including, right? But here what method we are writing? We are writing this include method. So now in this case, right, whenever you are using the query extension, you should not use the include method. What is the difference between this select projection method and the include method? Select projection and include. Can anyone tell me? See, if you are using a include method, what will happen? It will load the complete table. Complete table means what? If that table containing 5 column, 7 column, all the column data it is going to load. If I'm using the select projection, it is only going to load the columns what is specified. So it is also recommended if you are writing some select query, never use select star from. Select whatever the selected columns you want to include, those columns you need to specify. That is the reason why what I'm doing here, I'm using the select projection. So, right, while I'm deciding the primary image, right? But guys, remember order by descending is not required here because we are only going to deal with a single primary image, right? So there is no more than one primary image. So you can ignore this one. So here what I'm doing, I'm loading the primary image, but I'm not including all the primary images. I'm going to load only the image URL and the alternative text. Similarly, average discount, you can see that the discounted logic we have written here, the same logic we have going to apply. So what is the sorry, active discount? So in this case, active discount, you can see if here we have not applied that logic, but whichever discounts are active, right, currently active discount, that what I'm including here. So total reviews is also going to be there, average rating is going to be there, and the list of all images is also going to be there. See, the difference between this is going to be the primary image, and this is going to contain the list of images, right? So once I project this, and here you can say I'm projecting this to a anonymous type. So here this product name, primary image, active discount, total review, any name you can give, right? It is not mandatory because this is not a specific entity. Here you can say I have not specified the entity name, means it is projecting the query to one anonymous object. Means what? This is the select statement that is prepared here, not right. This is the select statement that what we are preparing, which is going to be executed at a runtime based on the conditions. So this query that what we prepared, and then I'm projecting the response to product detail. Here you can see from the product, I'm retrieving the ID name, SKU, description, all these things. So primary image, URL, data text, reviews, average rating, that discounted price, right? All these things I have. See, I'm not discussing this discount price logic here because that what we have already discussed. So the same logic I'm applying here. So basically, what you need to remember here. Now I'm preparing the select query, right? I'm preparing the select query and then I'm projecting that query to my DTO. So while I'm preparing the select query, I'm again using the select operation to this query. So this query is nothing but this one, what is written. So db context dot products dot as no tracking. And then on top of that, I'm applying this select. So whatever the data I want to return from the database, that what I have specified. And again, this select query is basically used to specify the, I mean, this is nothing but your mapping. Mapping means that product to product DTO. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
So simply, one, I'm here, I'm defining my query, and then whatever the response will return, that what I'm mapping to this product DTO. So once this is done, next what I need to do, right? And why we are not using include and select? Because if you are going to use include, then it will load the data. EF core means full table. So full table means SQL becomes large and slow. Pagination can break, right? Memory usage increases. Select means only the required column. So whatever you want, you can specify it in the query. The next what I'm going to do, see, I can define that method in the product's service itself in the application layer. right? In the application layer, here I can define the service for the OData. Better to separate them, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm creating another interface, iProduct service. And within this interface, I'm going to define two methods. One method for returning a collection of a product. Another method is for returning a single product. So here you can see for this one query. So I'm using this product DTO. Here also it is right returning the product DTO. But what is the difference? Here it is taking the unique ID, product ID. So within the query, right, you can apply this thing, right? Filter, order by, select, expand, top, skip, everything is going to be applicable. So how is that possible? That what we will discuss in the controller class. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide the implementation part. So this is just an interface you can see having two methods, and each method is returning iCoreable of a product details. See, repository layer return me what? Repository layer return me iCoreable of a product. This query extension method, it takes the responsibility for converting that right query to DTO. And then that DTO is going to be written by these two methods. To whom it will return? It will return to controller action method. And within the controller action method, we are going to make use of OData. So let us proceed and see how we can do this thing. So create this class file. So here you can say iProduct repository. So I'm taking that product repository interface. So using this product repository, I'm calling this query method, right? And this query method will return me my queryable of a product. And then I'm calling this project ready product to ready project product to product detail. And this is an extension method on iQueryable. So I can also call this one because whatever the return type here on that I can call this method. And this is going to return me one iQueryable of a product data. Guys, remember iQueryable means what? It only prepare the query. Till now, the query is not executed. Same thing also I'm doing here. So again, I'm applying that query. Then I'm applying that filter that on top of this query. Please filter the product by ID. And then I'm calling this method. So which is going to convert that iQueryable of a product to iQueryable of product. Both the method going to return me iQueryable of product DTO. Here, I'm not applying that where clause condition, but here I'm applying the where clause condition. Both are going to return something. So what this method exactly doing? See guys, remember this method is not executing our query. It is simply preparing the query. So basically, now it is returning me this iQueryable of a product DTO. Means what? It is returning the query. See, after the select, right, you can see I have not applied the faster default method. I have not applied the to list method. Means what? Till now, my query is not executed. It is only prepared. So in the product query, right, in the product repository, it prepared the base query. And in this case, in the product query extension, we have extended that query. Right? What extended that query means? What are the include condition that might be applied at runtime? Right? That what we have included. Some right computed columns are there, right? Those columns we have calculated, right, using our logic. Again, we are converting that product to product and detail. That what we have done within this method. But till now, my code is not yet executed. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
So here we are
Yes.
simply returning that query, not the but that query is not yet executed. So next what I need to do, as I have defined this one, right? Next what I need to do, I need to register my iProduct and the product services. Where to register? In the product API. So why I need to register? Because this is going to be used by, right? Who will use this one? This is going to be used by controller. So for that purpose, right, I need to register the service first. So once we register the service, next what I need to do, I need to define the EDM, entity data model. Within the EDM, I need to specify what are the entities available, their primary key, their relationship with the other entity. Everything needs to be specified so that the client can query accordingly. So for this purpose, what I need to do, I need to define one right method. And sorry, I need to define one class. So again, where I need to define this one, this is completely the responsibility of the API layer, because this is going to be used by the controller. So in the API layer, right, create one folder called OData. So here we need to define our EDM. We have already discussed what this EDM is going to contain. It is going to contain the entity sets, right? All these things. What is the primary key? That what we need to specify. So let me go ahead and create the EDM. Very simple. So you can say this is a static class product EDM, and this is a static method get EDM model. So any name you can give. This is not required. So this method is going to return me an IEDM model. So this IEDM model represents one EDM, and that EDM is nothing but going to contain the schema. So schema means what? Now what is the entity? Right? In this case, in my case, I'm going to deal with only one entity, product DTO. In your case, you might be creating multiple entity, product entity, so or some or different entity. That what you need to specify. So here you can see what is the entity in my case, product DTO. So here I'm using this is my entity and this is my entity set. So what is the difference between this one? So entity name is going to be product DTO means what? That this product DTO should have a unique identifier that is going to be ID, and this entity set means it is a collection. So basically, and this name is nothing but products. It is going to contain a collection property, and this product name, right, is going to be created as part of the OData endpoint. So what is OData slash products? So this products you can consider it is a collection, and on this product collection, I can apply this filter. So this products what we specify that is going to be created as part of the URL. So that URL, whatever we work, that is different. And the URL for OData is going to be different. So here I specified product means what? That is going to be as part of the URL itself. So products, then question mark, you can apply the query string. And whatever the name you specified, that same name you need to specify. And here products means it is going to deal with the product DTO, right? And again in the product DTO, right, on this entity type, which one is going to be the primary key, that what is going to, and already product DTO having some relationship with images, so you do not need to specify that relationship with externally. Already they know, right? They can investigate the product DTO. From that product DTO they can identify what are the related entities. And finally we need to return this EDM model, and this EDM model we are going to register into the application processing pipeline. So basically, this is my EDM. Within the EDM, I create an instance of ODM data model builder. So OData model builder, and using this builder, I registered my DTO. I registered my entity. I give a meaningful name for that entity. What is the primary key? That what I specified, and finally I create the EDM and I return that EDM from this method. Clear? Create. So very simple. First step, create an instance of EDM. Once you create the EDM, sorry, OData model builder instance, then specify the entity set, whatever entities are available. For each entity, what is the primary key, and finally return that model. So here I'm creating OData model builder convention model builder instance, and finally I'm returning. This is going to return me the EDM, and this EDM we need to register it into the dependency injection container. So how to register? Let us try to observe. So basically, right? So basically, wherever we registered your controller services, go to the program.cs class file. So, so this is my controller services, right? And to this service, what I'm going to do, I'm going to register my EDM. Okay. Let me take this to the top position. Okay, let me take this one to top. Okay. And we also need to use two namespaces. So please bring these two namespaces. One is Microsoft OData. It is already there. So product service dot API dot OData. Right. So now, so this service you already know, controller dot add JSON. Now what I'm doing here, I'm including the OData service. See, in this case, add route components means what? This route is going to be create something like OData. OData slash metadata. It is going to give you the metadata. I mean, whatever the entity types, all this are available. OData slash product. It is going to access the product entities, right? That's what you need to access. So in this case, whatever the route component, this is nothing but OData routing. So OData route should always start with the OData, and here, what is the model, right? EDM. EDM instance you need to specify for this OData. And in this instance, how you can get, now this is a static class, this is a static method. So using this class, I can call this method. So that's what I'm doing here, product EDM builder, dot get EDM. So this is going to return me the EDM. And on top of this EDM, right? I mean, so once I call this method, it will return me that EDM instance. EDM instance means it already know what are the entity sets and all these rules and regulations. What are the entities? What is the primary key? All these things. Then on top of this entity, right, or on top of these products, whatever entity set you defined here on this class file. So what are the operations you can apply? Do you want to enable the select operation so that the user can use this dollar select in the query? Yes, I want to use. Okay, add that one. Do you want to apply the filtering on top of the query? Yes, I want to apply. Okay, call this filter method. Do you want to apply the order by rate condition? Yes, okay, enable this one. So do you want to return that count for pagination? Yes, okay, enable that one. So do you want to load the related entities like products? You can see yes, I want. Okay. Okay, for time being, just remove this one, right? So I will show you if I'm not using, I'm not enabling this expand, and if I'm going to use expand in the query, then what will happen? And do you want to set a maximum limit? Maximum limit means if the user, right, trying to implement pagination, and if they want to fetch more than 100 records, do you want to disable that one? Yes, I want to disable. Then in that case, you can set this max, top max. Maximum 100 records you can return. If the user trying to set a value 500, 5,000, then that is going to be rejected by the idiom itself. Clear? So what we are doing? Now we are registering our OData routing services. The route is going to be this one. The EDM for this route is going to be this one. And for the EDM, whatever all operations, right, you are enabling, that what we have specified here. Clear? Clear, guys, or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Once this is done, right, what I can do is I can create a dedicated products or data controller. Can use the existing one, but why should I make rest with OData? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a dedicated products controller. So let me go ahead, products OData controller, and this product OData controller, it will make use of OData services. So whatever the OData services we define, that what it is going to use. See how it is going to use, please have a look, first of all. So product service, product OData query service, I have injected, logger I have injected for the logging purpose. So this is my get endpoint. And here you can see what is the parameter it is taking. OData query option product DTO. So is this product DTO registered within your EDM? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So basically, if this DTO is registered within your ADM, then right, whenever the user specified the query starting with this products, then after the products, right, whatever, so right, query string parameter it is specified using this, right, for example, using the select filter, order by count, expand, all this thing, right, going to be managed and parsed by this OData query options. Right? OData query option means what? It is the object which is going to read the query options from the URL. So what query options from the URL, whatever the filter, sort, order by, top, count, skip, everything, right? That is going to be read by this OData query options. Clear? Clear or so why you are using OData query option? Because we need to read the OData query parameters, right? Whatever the OData related filter, order by, sort, skip we applied to read effectively those things right from the query, we need to use this OData query option. So it is going to read all these things, whatever you applied. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So if you want, right, already we have provided this validation settings, right? If you don't want to use this thing, that is fine, right? Otherwise, if you want to specify the same thing also here, that is fine. For example, right, already we have set this in the program.cs class file. So 100. If you want to set a different value here, you can apply. If you want to use existing value, right, then you can write a comment this thing. That is absolutely fine. For example, I want to apply different value. Okay. So for that purpose, you can also override that max stop whatever set in the origin parameter. Right? Clear? So this is what I'm doing here. I'm creating one OData validation setting. So what is the use of this validation settings? So the use of this validation settings means to validate the incoming data, whether the data is valid or not, according to our EDM. So for that purpose, we are creating this validation settings, and then I just need to call the validate method by passing this validation option. So basically, this is not a mandatory, right, it is optional. If you want to enhance that maximum this value, this number of records should the client can ask in the request, then you can do the validation. Otherwise, right, you can skip the step 1 and the step 2. That is absolutely fine. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes. Clear.
Right. So now, again, you can say we have created my query service. So this query method is there. Query by ID method is there. So in this case, if the user accessing this endpoint, right, or data filters without specifying the key, means what I need to call this query method. Guys, remember, till now, this is going to return me the base query, not the executed one. The base query means what? If you go to this one, this is going to return me the base query. Base query means till now, filter is not applied. Till now, ordering is not applied. Pagination is not applied. Query is not executed. It simply return me the base query. So once I receive the base query, right, then what I need to do, I can apply some kind of enhancements, right? Handle not preparation means what? Once you make these two false, so basically it is going to generate a cleaner SQL for entity framework code. So this is not mandatory, right? I mean, in this case, but if you provide these settings, right, then it is going to generate some clean SQL right, statement using entity framework code, right? So then once you have the settings, what you can do is you can apply this method, apply to base query and settings. So to this method, whatever the base query you receive using the settings, right? You can apply this one. See, if you don't want this thing, that is absolutely fine. So what I'm doing here, please observe. uh, I'm calling this apply to method on which on this options class. This option, what it contains these things. So this options contains this thing, right? Option contain all these things. And I'm calling this apply to method with the base query. What exactly it means? It means to this base query, please apply this filter, pagination, order by whatever the client is specified, and then it is going to return me the result. And guys, remember this result, what I'm getting, again, it is a I queryable. But this I queryable, whatever the result it return, it contains all the filtration, where clause condition, For example, if you apply filter, it is going to include the SQL where clause. If you apply order by, it is going to use SQL order by. If you use top and skip, then it is going to make use of offset and face, right? All these things are going to be applied to the query, and that resulted query it will return. And when I passed that resulted query to this OK method, so this method is going to enumerate that result. While it is enumerated result, it will execute that result in the database, and once it executed, it will return the appropriate data from the database, and that data it is going to return. So at this point of time only our query is going to be executed. Clear or not?
Yes, clear.
Right? So here it contains all the filtering conditions. We got the base query. To this base query we apply our condition. It will return me the filtered query, and that filter query is going to be executed at this, because at this point of time entity framework core will execute the query, and I mean our framework will execute the query in the database, return the result. That result it is going to write into the response stream, and that result you will see in the response. Same thing I'm doing here, but here what is important, it is taking that key from the OData URL. So basically, this OData query string means what? In the core right URL, you have to specify. For example, OData product, and here using this GUID, using this open and close rate parameter, right, you need to specify the product ID. And if you are specifying the product ID, so this method is going to be. So you can consider this is nothing but your get by ID method. And again, right, if you apply some kind of a filtering, whatever the columns you want to include, all these things, you can apply it using this query options, right? And then the same thing is going to be applied in filtering conditions if you want to apply. Okay, let me remove this one, right? Again, here if I'm getting this one, then you cannot specify max top value, right, going to be more than one, because in this case we are expecting the client, if you specified this max top value, then its value must be one. It should not be greater than one. Why? Because here we are going to return a single record. So here you can see get by order ID method I'm passing, that is going to return the base query, and that base query, right, I'm applying the filter, and then that filter is going to be executed here. Clear?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we are passing these options, so can we like specify it there itself, like where ID equal to in the query itself, like
No.
instead of passing this key separately.
See, here you are not right, specifying that ID equals to key, right? Yes, if you want, you can specify. That is absolutely
ID
fine.
equal to some value, sir. Yeah.
In that case, you need to use this method.
Okay. Okay.
With this
Yeah.
method, you can specify the ID equal to whatever the value, and accordingly it is going to return it. So in this case, you have to specify this value in the
Hmm.
right query string. So
Yeah.
for
Understood.
your requirement, you can use this method.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
So now, right, what is the last thing that what we are going to discuss? Right, the last thing is going to be OData endpoint. So basically, if you see, if you want, you can invoke this method directly. But what I want to execute this method using API gateway. So in API gateway, wherever you define the route, so product service route. So now for the product service, I want to define a different route for OData. So in this case, what is my requirement? Now my requirement is if the request coming something like product slash OData slash everything, then it will redirect to OData slash everything. So here, this everything is going to be products, whatever the core string appended into the product. So it will redirect to the downstream product microservice using OData slash product, everything, right? And here it is using HTTPS protocol, product service, and whatever, the same concept, whatever we used, right, for the load balancing, everything is going to be same. Right, so this is what we specified. Why we specified? Because the URL is different, right? For example, for product service, the URL is going to be product slash everything. But here, it is going to be not a product slash everything. It is going to be OData slash everything, right? So that is the reason why I created this separate sections for OData. So once this is see here, what is the route you can see OData slash products. So OData slash products. So that what you need to remember. So this is OData slash product. In the UI, right, for this API gateway, you can receive products so OData slash everything. If you're getting this, it is going to make use of this. Clear? Clear, guys? Clear or not?
Yes.
Right. So once this is done, right, next what I can do is I can start my console service. Okay. And in this case, I need to set two project as the startup project. Which two are going to be the startup project? API gateway and the so user service. I don't need gateway. Yes. E-commerce web not required. User service that is fine. So product service dot API. So this is what I need. So these two things I need to start because I want to test the functionality. So now run the application. Guys, remember that filtering, applying the filter, all these things are going to be taken care by OData. You do not need to do anything special. You just need to provide the base query. That's it. Applying the filtration, sorting, right? All the grouping logic, uh, skip, take, all these things is going to be handled by OData. Right. So to see, right, first of all, let me check, right, whether my console service is running or not. Yes, my console. See, guys, the API gateway not required, right? If API gateway is failing, that's fine because this is not a service layer, right? And this API gateway is not going to be used by anyone. What is important? This product service should be up and running. So next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to test. So first of all, what you need to do, you need to test this metadata endpoint. So where is your right service is running? API gateway 7204 products, OData and metadata. If this service is running means what your right? What I can say, OData is working. Okay. So let me go ahead and this one. So here you can say I'm getting this response. So I'm getting this response means my right. This is going to return me the entity metadata. I mean the EDM entity data model. So here it is specifying one property is going to be there product DTO. If you go to the EDM file, right where we define the EDM, we define the EDM in the application sorry in the API layer. So this is the one EDM we defined product DTO. And in product DTO, which one is going to the primary key ID? So that what you can see, reference key is going to be ID. And in product DTO, these are all the properties are available. So here you can see in product DTO, all these properties are available, right? And next thing is important thing, right? Here you can see this is product image DTO, what we specified. This is a, right, what I can say, navigation property or a reference property. And if you see, go to the product DTO, then inside this DTO, this ID is also going to be the primary key, right? And then inside that detail, these are the right what I can say properties available. And in your application, this entity products is going to be the container. Using this product, you can write specify the query. Clear? Clear or not?
Yeah, clear.
So one is product detail, one is product image detail, and the container is going to be product. So you cannot directly access product image DTO. That what you need to access via the products only. Now, So now what I want to do is I want to test some functionalities. Now another thing. So can I access this endpoint directly? Yes, you can also access. Where is your application is running? My application is running inside this endpoint 7234. So instead of using this, right, so I can directly access using this one. Sorry. So it is going to be OData slash product. Why I'm getting this error? Sorry, here product should not be there. Here OData slash metadata. See, I can directly access. So you can access using API gateway, or you can access using this one, right? OData metadata or slash OData. So that's what you can apply. Now, so now I want to test the different functionality. Suppose you want to retrieve the product for the first page. So you can write a query this one. So here you can see product. I'm using here what? I'm using API gateway. So OData slash products question mark count equals to true. So top equals to 5, skip equals to 0. So 5 records it is going to return from the beginning without skipping anything. Right. So now let me run this one. I'm getting this response in this way. How to format this one, guys? Guys, anyone having any idea how to format this response? See? So here you can see all data count equals to total how many records?
6.
6.
This is my first object. This is my second object. This is my third. But here, does it include the related entity product images? Yes or no? Does it include that related product images array for each product?
No.
Why it is not included? Because we have not specified. So by default, it is only going to return the data. Similarly, if you want the second object, right, from the product 5, right, from the top 5, by skipping the first 5 product, right, then it is going to return the remaining records. So here you can see total count is 6, but it is going to return me the last one. Clear? So select only the column showing the UI from the performance point of view. For example, now what I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to specify the columns which I want in the response. So ID name, SKU price, stock quantity, and each active. So that's what I specified, OData slash products entity set. And here I specify select ID name, SKU price, stock quantity is active. And how many records I want? I want the top 25 records. So that what so these columns, whatever I specified, is this columns it is going to return in the UI? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So now I only want the active products. I only want the product which are active. So how I can specify? See here you can see filter is active equals to true. So here it is only going to return me the active product. So here you can see is active true. Here it is active true. This is active true. Is active true, and in all the products which are active, so those products are going to be written by the query. Next, category wise. So what basically for a particular category, right? Electronics, let us say electronics category, I want the product details. So here I specify category ID equals to this one. So now run this query. See, So this is that particular category details. You can see one product, two, three, right? Four products are there belonging to that particular category. That category ID want to specify. For that particular category, whatever all products are there, it is going to return. And if you go ahead and check this thing, right, in the database to ensure whether this is valid data or invalid data, right, you can go to this, you can go to the table and you can also verify the same. Okay. So this is my database, product service DB. Where is the product service DB? This is my product service DB. So first of all, let me go ahead and check what is this category. Whether IT equals to. So mobile phones is the category. Okay. And now let me go to the products table where category ID equals to this one. So four products are there and that four records I'm getting in the UI. Clear? One record, second record, third record, and the fourth one. Clear?
Yes.
Similarly, right, if you want to filter the data based on the price range for a different price range, right, you want the product, that's what you can specify. So what is the product price? 5299. So what is the price range? The price range between, right, what I specified, 5 to 100 and right, 5000. So instead of 500, what I'm doing here, I'm specifying this one as a 600. So now you can see this product is coming 5299. So four products are coming, right? So if I specify the price range as 600, then it should return me three products. So you can see product one, product two, and the product three. That means that filter is also working. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So now I'm going to apply, right, multiple combinations. See here, filter is active true. First of all the product which are true. Stock quantity greater than zero. It should have some stock quantity. Order by created on which are recently added. I want to select these properties and I want to select the top 25 and skip 0. So pagination, filtration, grouping is active, right? All these conditions I have applied. So now let me run this one. It is also working as expected. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply the expanded, right? The expand equals to true. So now let me execute this one. What I'm getting here, invalid OData query. The property images cannot be used in the expand query options. Why it is not used? Now, if you go to the product, expand is enable or disable?
Disable.
Disable. That is the reason why it is not working. So what you need to do, you just need to enable this one. And once you enable, send the query again. So bad request. So we need to build and run the application one more time. Okay. See, I'm getting the response. So you can see all the product and expand it. So this is my product data and this is going to be the images, right? So if one image, if image available, that images are a, if not available, that is MTR, what it is returning. Now, so can I specify which image properties I want in the response? Yes, absolutely. So how I can do this thing? So here you can see I'm selecting product. For the product, I'm retrieving ID name price, and for expand, I'm returning ID image URL and the if whether it is the primary image or not. So now execute this one. See whatever the query I specified, ID name price, ID name price from product, and for images ID, image URL, and each primary. Clear? Right? So now I want to retrieve one product image URLs, right? So let me see how I can do this thing. See, OData product. So this is my product query I have specified. This is going to be use the second method where I'm passing this key. And now run this one. One product details. For this product, there is no image, so it is not including that image. Clear? Right? Clear? And for example, I'm providing a different product image product. So let's see whether this product having the image. Yes, it is having the image. Clear, guys?
Yeah, clear.
This is how. What is this easy to understand, easy to implement over GraphQL, or it is difficult?
Yeah, it's easy.
So this is easy and it gives more flexibility, right? So unlike the client can specify, right, what data he wants. That means GraphQL is means basically for what purpose? Specifying what are the overfetching and underfetching. They can specify what data they need. But here additional flexibilities are there. What additional flexibility? Filtration, sorting, right? Then pagination. All these things are available with OData, which is not available with the GraphQL. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Right. So and it is very useful, right? See, when we start, we have created three different endpoints, right? For example, if you look at this product controller, so here we are having this get all product method, get by ID method, and writing search method. So these three method we have created because of three different requirements. So can I combine these three into a single approach? In the interview, you might get this question. Yes, absolutely, we can do this thing. Not only this thing, but we can also provide some enhancement like filtering, sorting, grouping, pagination, all these things. How? We have to use OData. Clear?
Yeah.
Clear, guys?
Yes. Yes.
So the next, right, I will update when the next session will be, and we'll discuss service mesh. Right after service mesh, we'll right discuss that concept Git repository, how to add our project to Git, how to do check-in, check-out, review, all these things, right? We'll discuss with them. So service mesh is one of the important concept that is remaining. So once service mesh is completed, you can consider that development part is going to be done. Next, that management, right? How you are going to manage the source code, how you are going to deploy the application into Docker and the Kubernetes. So these three things are going to be there. So one is not these three things. Another important thing that is CI/CD pipeline. So once we discuss the Git repository, then we'll discuss CI/CD, and then we'll discuss the Docker and the Kubernetes. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone having any question? Okay, let me share the document. Anyone having any question, guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, for filtering, we are passing data into the query string, but there is a limitation for the query string. If we are applying multiple filters, then how to handle this?
Sorry?
So we are filtering data based on the query string.
Hmm.
We are passing, and there is a limitation for the query string
You
that
just tell
we.
me. You just tell me what is the limitation? How long data you are going to pass?
The exact number I don't know, but there is some limit that.
Okay, see, whatever the maximum limitation, it can be easily right. Right, you can apply. See, I'm not going to pass 1,000 number of words in the filter. Be practical. Be practical in the sense. Sir, am I going to send some 1,000 characters in the URL? No. See, filtering and pagination means some of the very few data I'm going to pass. And that data easily acceptable by the chorister. Clear?
Oh,
Hey, see, Limitation is there, but that limitation, whatever they provided, that is easily achievable, right, within the limitation of data what we are passing.
But suppose if
Right,
you
sir?
are filtering based on the category, and we have the multiple categories like 30, 40, and the category name we are passing, that can be.
So you just tell me from the UI, right? Practically from the UI, how you are going to select 40 categories.
Suppose we have select all, and we are excluding one or two.
So
In
if
that
you
case, we
are,
can pass.
that is very right. No, that is not an ideal scenario. Why I'm saying, so what is the meaning of a select out of 40 category? Why I'm going to skip two categories? And in those scenarios, right, what you need to do, you are going to pass that category, right? That is also acceptable. 30 categories means that is possible, and that is not an ideal scenario, right? Ideal scenario means you never right going to select 40 categories for the filtration. So if I'm going to apply 40 categories, then what is the meaning of filtration? Filtration means what? I'm going to filter the data as much as possible. And if that is your requirement, what you need to do? If that limitation is there, okay, let me first filter by 5 categories, then another five, then another five. Like this, you can do it,
Okay.
right? But ideally, right, whatever you are asking, that is not practically correct. Practically correct in the sense, out of 40 categories, it is not possible that I'm going to filter and I'm going to get the data of 38 categories. If I'm getting 38, then why should I skip these two? I can also include these two. And if that limitation you are seeing, right, that corresponding limitation, then you can split the data. First, let me access, right, some 5 categories, then another five, then another five, like this. Right? They are provided that option. But if not satisfy everything, if I'm unable to specify everything, okay, I can split that data. Clear?
Okay.
Guys, please download the document I have shared in the chat window.
Yeah, so sir, in the upcoming session, like you'll be taking service mesh. So, like,
Yes.
what topics under that we'll be covering?
I will discuss that topic, right, in that case. So basically, right, how you are communicating with the external world, that's what I'm going to handle, right, using service mesh. So
Okay,
basically, it is going to deal with the right infrastructure layer.
infrastructure. Yeah, okay.
I will discuss
There
that
is a
separately.
one topic, sir, interesting, like MTLS. Like, uh, here also, like in my project, they are using MTLS
So
for
what is
service.
MTA?
This mutual TLS for service to service communication whenever they are making this HTTP call, nearest call.
That is related to, right, how securely you are transmitting, right, that TLS, right, that is a different concept altogether. Right? I mean, how you are going to communicate from one service to another service. That service would have access, right? It is not like that in real time. What is happening if I'm having two different services? If I want to consume the calls from a different server, that server access should be there. So that accessibility they are going to manage using TLS,
Mhm.
mutual TLS, right? So that part I cannot explain here. For that to understand, right, you need a real time, right, environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't we have with the like something dummy
No, that
means
is not possible because for
not
that
possible?
purpose, different server altogether.
Okay.
Right? This is more related to your infra, not related to your development. Right? This is more related to your infrastructure. Your infra team will help, right, regarding this. And rightly, if you understand all these things, right, those small things, why not you try yourself?
Yeah, just I was asking like
Oh, See, that is
Yeah,
asking is,
hmm.
but never depend everything on others. Try to understand something by yourself. For example, I'm taking the microservices concept at this point, right? I'm going to explain whatever I provided. After 1 year or after and then, right, in the upcoming version, some new concepts are coming into the picture. Then how you'll understand those concepts,
Yes.
right? So always try to learn something new, right, by yourself. That will give you more confidence and clarity, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But whatever related to development, 100% right, I'm going to cover most of the development part, right? If you are working with microservices, right? Whatever we discussed so far, these are the things you used in your project or something else.
Yeah, yes, same we are using. Yeah.
I mean, even I'm not sure what the way, right, we are implementing as per the industry standard. That standard you are following in your project or not, even I don't know. For standard mechanism should be there. Are you using OData in your project?
No, sir, we are not using.
Then how you are using this one? If you are not using OData, then how you are right taking the benefit of microservices? So if you are not using OData means what? Definitely you are going to create a multiple endpoints of different screen and different requirement.
Yes.
Then what is the meaning of using microservices? It means what? That endpoint explosion that is going to be there in your project. Tomorrow some new client will come, the requirement is different. Then again you need to create a different endpoint. Yes or no?
Yes, yes, right.
Then what right? But now once you understand right OData and GraphQL, what limitation now you can handle in your project or not?
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Yes. Okay. Anyone having any more question, guys?
Yes, sir.